Hello, welcome to 15-Minute Consulting Best Practices. My name is Maria Isabel Rios. I'm here with David A. Fields and John and Michael and Tom. Hello, welcome to our space. This is a space where we answer your questions about how to create more success and traction for your consulting firm. Ask us questions. We're here for you, right? We're here to answer whatever it's valuable, wherever it's helpful for you. Chime into the discussion. That's how the discussion becomes better and becomes richer. We have some pending questions that we had to answer from last week. And hello, Michael, and hello, Daniel. Yeah, exactly. Well, Wednesday is April 1st. So we're starting the second quarter of the year pretty soon right now.
Except for Tom. Tom is going to do April 1st tomorrow, which is good. So.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Jaren, if you want, share the first question that we had pending from last week, I think.
Right.
So this question is from Jill. Jill asks, how do you tackle relationship building with folks who are keenly aware of your role as a consultant? I have a relationship I've worked to build. We talked about working together, but it wasn't the right time. All right. I've stayed in touch to learn about what they're working on and share useful information. There's a wall because they see the relationship as in service of getting a contract. In other words, they're suspicious of my motives. How do I get past that? All right. So, of course, they know you're a consultant, Jill. And now they're suspicious of Jill's motives. David, what's your advice? How can Jill right-side that relationship, right? There's something wrong there.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting. Okay, so just all we have to go on is, Jill, is how you ask the question. And it does sound to me, Marisabel, you may have a different opinion. It does sound to me, based on how you wrote it, that your contact, in this case, or your contacts in general, are right. That you are mainly building the relationship with hopes of winning a project. I mean, that's how you framed the question to us. And so they are rightly suspicious because you're approaching it that way. And so I think that the way to get past that is to approach your relationships with genuine interest in the relationship rather than in the ultimate deal. Which means that rather than ensuring you share useful information or things that you think are going to advance their interest in working with you, which is in service of a contract, just attend to them. Be interested in them. And it's totally fair to choose which relationships you invest in based on your assessment of their likelihood to turn into business. But once you've made that choice, once you've decided this is a person that I'm going to build a relationship with, set aside winning business and just focus on the person, not the project. That's my kind of instinct gut reaction. Marisabel, what do you think?
It's an interesting conundrum, right? Because when we ask and we tell folks, look, let's be right side up. Let's focus on making the conversation about them. Let's build a relationship, right? There's a requirement there about generally wanting to be in a relationship and trusting the process that projects will come at the right time, right? That because you share knowledge and you share expertise, projects will come as an outcome of having built a relationship. So it does require you to trust yourself and trust the project and trust your relationship ability, powers, as well as your counterpart, right? And being integrated around that, which is your point, David. Absolutely. Right. In a sense, right? People can read through it the same way we can read through folks who are not genuine. So it may end up being, Jill, that you share the same article. But if when you're sharing, you're thinking, this is the article that will win me a project, people will read through it because you will write your message in a different way, in a different tone, versus when you write the message saying, this is an article that somebody will really find of interest or that they will really find valuable, it will read different. So yes, absolutely. It will take shifting your perspective and then trusting in the process. The opportunities will come if you trust the process. So 100% agreement with you.
Yeah,
Right.
and Michael's got a follow up on that. Why don't we just jump on that? You're saying follow up on Jill's question. How do you best approach a client or third party vendor to obtain a second gig with the client, or market together to get a gig with another client? So those are really different situations. I think those two. Winning follow on business and marketing collaboratively with a third party, with a staffing agency. To me, they're really different things. What do you think, Maria Isabel?
So let's split it, right? So let's do the first part of the question first, and then the second part later, right? So first part of the question, right? How do you best approach a client to get a second gig, right? Ideally, in the process of your engagement, you have touch points with your client, conversations with your client that continue to further your relationship outside of discussing details of specifics of your project. We tend to call these sponsored calls, and we are always encouraging everybody to put those in the calendar with the same importance as you put on your project debriefs. Why? Otherwise, you won't make time for them, right? Agendas get busy, diaries get full, people won't make time for them. So schedule your sponsor calls. In your sponsor calls, always check in on what are their priorities, what's important for them. If there isn't a natural follow-on to your projects, this is a space where, again, in conversation, when you talk about their priorities, when you talk about what's next for them, opportunities will surface. You have a given space to continue building that relationship. That's one idea. David, what do you add to that before we move on to the second part?
So everything you said, so yes, doing sponsor calls, doing what we call opportunity assessments and vision meetings, those are important. What I would tell you, Michael, is if you want to win follow-on business, the most important thing is to do a very good job with your current project.
That's true.
So focus on the current project, deliver an outstanding result and an outstanding client experience. And as part of the project, you build in, as Maria Isabel was saying, opportunities to discuss follow-on work through sponsor calls, through opportunity assessments, those sorts of things. That, I think that's where I come out on that. Similar to you, Maria Isabel. Right. And what do you think about getting a second gig with? It sounds like Michael's saying if you've worked through a staffing agency or perhaps subcontracted with another consulting firm.
Right.
How do you
collaborator, right?
Right. Some sort of collaboration. So, how do you get more?
Some sort of collaboration. So you would also at some point say, look, it's been great working together for this client. Let's talk about working together with other clients. What are other opportunities? What are your priorities? What are my priorities? How, are we solving a problem that people have, right? Are we fishing where the fish are? And if so, how do we go solve this problem together? How do we create value for most folks? And that's how you approach it earlier on in the conversation. You don't wait till your project finishes. You keep it as an ongoing conversation as well with a partner, provided that, as David said before, you're doing good quality work and that the collaboration is fruitful as well, right? That you're finding a good rhythm together, that you're adding value to each other in addition to adding value to your ultimate client. David, what do you add to that?
Well, I think that's exactly right. I think you treat collaborators, treat firms for whom you subcontract and staffing firms like clients. Because ultimately they are your client, especially if you're subcontracting. They're paying you, they are your client. So treat them like clients. Focus on what's valuable to them, not how do we win a project that I get to work on. What could we do that would win you more projects? That's where your focus is. Be right side up with collaborators just as much as with clients. All right. You're welcome, Michael. Right. And others, if you have questions, post your questions. Let us know what's on your mind. I think there was at least one other that was a leftover we hadn't gotten to yet. Jaren, was there something else in there? Yes.
Yeah, I think
there was. And John, yes, don't wait until the project is over. 100% right. All right. Matt asked, I know outreach is important. Yes, it is. But how do I make sure I'm reaching out to the right people? I don't want to waste my time or theirs. All right. That's pretty straightforward. What do you think, Marie-Isabel? How do you reach out to the right people?
All right. So thank you, Matt. And good job knowing that outreach is important because it's often overlooked, right? And you have to initiate some form of outreach for those people in touch with recently. And recently, we mean the last 3 months or so. So who do you reach out to? Well, we have this definition of who your network core is, right? People who are decision makers or influencers who, in the case of decision makers, we want warm relationships with you, meaning that you reasonably expect that they will call you back, right? You have a reasonable expectation that if you place a call or you send a message, they will respond to you. Or who relationship, not cold, cool, meaning that you they may or may not respond to you when you reach out to them. And in the case of influencers, we just want very warm relationships, right? That's your network core. Those are the people that you should be doing outreach. Decision makers, people who can basically sign a project for you, right? It's very simple to decide who you should be doing outreach to. Those are the folks. Everybody else, which is your network periphery, we don't want you to completely forget about them. You're just not required to be in regular outreach and in regular conversation 3 to 4 times a year with every one of them, right? We just don't want you to forget about them either. So now,
Marie-Isabel, let me ask you a question though. If let's say Matt has 100 people or 80 people or 50 people, whatever it is, and he's not sure whether they are decision makers or influencers, right? How does he or any other consultant sort that out? How do they figure out who to call or who to reach out to, who to message?
Right. So I would say, if in doubt, you reach out, right? And you have a conversation and you find out what's their role. You are genuinely curious. You learn about the other person. And in the course of that conversation, and as you learn more and more about them, about their role, about what they're working on, you get to know them, then you are able to hopefully determine, do they belong in your network core or not? And that's what then determines how often you reach out to them or not. But say you have been just introduced to somebody, by all means, follow up on that introduction. Say you met somebody at a conference and you hit it off, right? And you don't know, you're quite sure if they're a decision maker or an influencer. Follow up, reach out, get into a conversation with them, get to know them. Invest a little bit of time that gets you to the answer. So if you're in doubt, reach out. David, what do you think? Where do you land on that?
Well, first of all, I really like that line. So we'll use that one. When in doubt, reach out, because reaching out has very little downside. And one thing that's interesting in what Matt said is he says, I don't want to waste their time or mine. But that assumes that any conversation with someone in which you build a relationship is somehow could be wasting time. And from our standpoint, from my standpoint, at least, I think from our standpoint as a firm, we're believers in relationship wealth, which means if you spend time with someone building a relationship, even if they would never become a client, you're still creating good. You're still creating value for yourself and for the world. So if in doubt, reach out. And with that, oh my gosh, we've once again used up our 15 minutes. So thank you for spending 15 minutes with us. Marie-Isabel, thank you for spending this 15 minutes with me. And before you leave, on the off chance you don't have Monday live, thank you, Jaron. It's down there. Make sure that's in your calendar. And that way you come back every week. And also, if you don't receive our articles, you definitely want to be signed up. I will tell you, this is a good week to sign up if you don't happen to get articles. So thank you, Jaron. davidafields.com/subscribe. And finally, on the off chance you are not connected to us on LinkedIn, please connect to us. Thank you, Jaron. You put our LinkedIn handles there because we do want to be connected with you on LinkedIn also. And with that, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a fabulous week. As we were talking about earlier, just be right side up. Remember, consulting's about them. It's about your clients, about your prospects, it's about your collaborators. So give them value and give them kindness. And we will see you, well, Marie Isabel will see you next week. Take care, all.
Bye. Thank you.